crime. It sounds like the stuff of detective fiction, but murder for hire continues to pop up on police blotters across the country. The intended victim may be a spouse, a business associate, or even a parent. What unites most cases, experts say, is that amateur criminals are overwhelmingly behind the murder plots, apparently believing they can't be held accountable if they themselves do not pull the trigger. Well, they'd be wrong. John Donovan has our report.
Murder for hire. Even in this economy, some of us are still willing to pay for it. Take just the last few and the next few weeks. We have the sentencing next month of former Food Network star Juan Carlos Cruz, who tried to pay 2 homeless men to kill his wife. TMZ had that story.
What did he tell you to do once you went in?
To strangle her.
He told you to strangle her.
The arraignment in Ohio last month of a mother-in-law accused of plotting to hire an assassin to finish off her son-in-law. In March, Dalia DiPolito goes on trial in Florida.
I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
These recorded conversations allegedly show her negotiating terms for her husband's murder. And then only a few weeks ago, the arrest of a teenager named Matthew Campbell in Montana for allegedly trying to buy a murder. He has entered a plea of not guilty, and just the other day, he wrote home for the first time from jail.
This is a letter.
His mom, Dana Campbell, reads aloud to his 2 sisters.
I hope you will somehow talk to me and maybe forgive me someday.
And there's no parenting manual to tell you how to process that one, especially because, well, one day an FBI agent dropped by Dana's used car lot on the outskirts of Billings and told her that the target of the contract Matthew allegedly tried to arrange was her.
He asked to speak to me out in private, and he said, I hate to be the one to inform you of this, but we've been notified that there has been a contract put out on your life.
A contract out on your life? It just sounds, it sounds insane.
Over a long career with the FBI, Brad Garrett says he has worked on many of these sorts of cases.
Because people believe in their sort of naive state that they can step to somebody else, have them commit the murder.
They think if that guy pulls the trigger, I'm clear.
Right.
Only most of the time, wrong. As Dalia DiPolito learned to her regret, according to prosecutors, because in that now notorious scene where she appears to be hammering out the details, it turns out the supposed killer for hire in the driver's seat was actually an undercover cop making recordings for the Boynton Beach Police Department.
What they do is they step to a friend or an associate or someone that they knew in their past. And what happens, in a vast majority of the time, the person they step to goes to law enforcement, whether it be the local police.
They get ratted out.
The next step is actually to stage a false murder. DiPolito was called home by police one day.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you.
And given the false news that inside her husband lay dead, murdered.
Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man. He's been killed. He's been killed, man. I'm sorry.
And then they got DiPolito into an interrogation room.
First of all, let me just tell you, I'm sorry for your loss.
I just want to see my husband, please.
She continues to speak as a shocked widow. Remember, as far as she knows, her husband is dead.
Why would they go through that if she's just going to deny it? What do they establish in that? They just want to see if she reacted or confessed at that point?
Well, a case is always much better if you can get people to actually admit that they have committed this act.
But then they tell her the so-called killer is actually one of their own men.
That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did.
I didn't do anything.
Listen to me.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
And they quote back what they have her saying on tape.
You need a real good attorney because we're going to show them the film where you say you're 5,000% sure you want him dead.
And finally they tell her that her husband is still alive.
Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, thank God.
Please, can I see him?
No, he doesn't want to see you.
I so wanted to see him.
He doesn't want to see you.
DiPolito goes on trial in March. She has entered a plea of not guilty. So has Matthew Campbell, whose mother is in a kind of shock that few of us can understand. The big question being, why? If it was for money, for her house and her business, she can't imagine that was worth killing for.
Well, the only thing that I can come up with is that he would feel, since my home, my ranch, and everything was paid off, that it would be probably left to the kids. Yep, and it would be divided 3 ways. In fact, my kids, my 2 girls, think now maybe, if my estate had been divided into thirds after I passed away, maybe he might have even considered, killing them so he could have 100% of it all.
And there could well be family dynamics in play that outsiders aren't privy to. His sister Nikki, though, says she never saw this coming.
Even if my mom was gone, he knows that the two of us are still here, so he's not going to get full financial gain out of what my mom owns.
Well, your mom said maybe his plan was to kill you too.
And it could be. Maybe if he thought that he successfully eliminated one and got away with it,
But even what we're talking about, the whole idea that your brother would kill you it just sounds so completely off the reservation.
It does. It's so far-fetched.
But something else that sounds far-fetched to Dana's ears, Matthew's letter of apology and explanation, because in it he says that this was all some big complicated misunderstanding.
I was so scared, Mom, I didn't know what else to do. I thought I was really dealing with a real hitman that wouldn't hesitate to do anything, like in the movies. So I made a phony plan to this just to get him away from me.
And there's just something in that even his mother isn't buying.
I do love him. I do. He's my son. And no matter what, I will always love him.
Do you trust him?
At this point, no. No, I don't trust him at all.
Just as, and let's go to the Florida case one more time.
I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
Dalia DiPolito's husband didn't believe her when she finally got him on the phone from jail.
You know more than anybody, it's not true. And what you said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that. It's not true. That is not true. How is it not true? How can you believe that? I heard your voice. Like, I didn't do anything. It doesn't matter. You can hire 5 lawyers. They're charging your ass to have your voice, your face, everything on tape.
I would be willing to predict that she has used this crying, plain dumb role in other scenarios in her life. And obviously, it's not working here.
End of the story.
Except for one more point, the price tag, the value of life snuffed out. The alleged money that Dalia DiPolito was to pay her hitman, $3,000 plus the cost of a gun. The number in play in Matthew Campbell's negotiations, $5,000 before the hit, $5,000 after. Put it all together, and maybe you could buy a decent truck on Dana Campbell's lot. I'm John Donvan for Nightline in Billings, Montana.